Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show, and this morning we have welcomed our heroes who made us proud in China, and we want to talk about that and understand where our sports industry is headed to. And I'm joined in studio by a champion athlete himself, Mr. Douglas Wakiihuri, also a coach now, coaching the First Lady, of course, and he tells me he's also coaching some small kids. Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good
for
morning,
coming.
Thank you very much.
First, tell us, you're coaching small kids?
Yeah, I do coach the Kibera running club.
Okay.
On Sundays, we go out there in the Langata forest and just try and run around. We've been doing this for 6 years. Just to give them a new perspective and be able to participate in the normal sports events, because slums is where things don't go and don't come out.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think that there could be a good talent in the slums, but unless we give them an opportunity to come up and join us, we will not see that in a very long time.
Okay. We were here, we were watching when our heroes came home. First, I'd want to know your thoughts. I'd want to know what you felt as you were watching those clips.
I think I have to congratulate the team itself, the preparations, having won the highest medals so far.
Yes.
But having said that, I think we are over with it now, the celebrations, and we must start thinking of the 2016.
We need to get to 2016.
We need to get to 2016 because we are having problems like for the 10,000 meters, the marathon, and the 5,000 meters. We've never won for quite a long time. And I think this would have made a perfect 10 score if we had won these three.
We'll get to that. Let's first focus on these championships. And Kenya bagged 2 gold medals in unexpected fields, and that is field javelin and the 400-meter hurdles. What does this mean for you in the athletics world?
First, I think if I look at the javelin, that was expected because of the development that has come from previous years. We've seen Yego develop in strength and speed. And I think now that what he needs now is to put more speed so that they can throw further, because he is stronger than last year. I think that's a great achievement for this country, and I think he's going to put a lot of youth behind him and looking at him and wanting to be like him. So, and also I think we are just reviving the 400 meters, that we are still good in sprints, and I think we can do it. But we also need to get to understand why we don't perform, because we have athletes, but we don't perform.
Why do you think that is the case?
I think first and most is preparations. Like if I look at myself, since when I was 19 years old, I prepared myself in Japan. In the preparation program would start maybe way 4 years before. So you would psych yourself and say, this is what we are doing, first year, second year, third year. So it is a 4-year planned process and training, in vigorous training. So I think that is what we need to put in place and practically give our athletes more time for preparations. And also I think we also need to understand as athletes that Kenya is our mother, regardless of what we do. We must give this country a chance and compete for it. Let's show the world who we are.
So do you think that's the reason why we didn't do too well in the women's 800 meters, the men's marathon, and the 3,000 meters you were talking about, sorry, the 5,000 and 10,000 meters, lack of preparation?
No, I don't think it's lack of preparation. I just think probably sometimes it's lack of techniques.
Lack of techniques,
lack of technical advice, because each one, like for example the 800 meters, they're well experienced, so probably it's just a miscalculation and all that. But I think that the technical part is also a huge point that we need to look at, to look into it. Because like for the marathon, if I look at the marathon, I think we could have done it because it, Wilson Kipsang is a world record holder, right? Is a 2:20, like 4 minutes or so. If we see this one is about 2:10, the winner is 2:13. So he should have been able to run it very, very well. But despite that, being a world champion, we could able. But one other aspect also it must be considered is that when you have a fast runner who runs a world record, he does it in winter, which is very cool and he's very light. So when you come to summer, the heat can take a toll on you because you don't have the mass. For me, I was a better championship runner than a record runner because I had mass and strength, so I could endure well in heat and in summer than in winter, yes.
Now, you talked about preparation, but then there's also the issue of facilities, you know, that would enable us to train at 110% locally. You talked about training in Japan,
yes,
you know, and you started preparing 4 years prior to your marathon. What about the people who are here?
Yeah, I think we can be able to train with what we have at the moment. It is just a matter of putting the programs in place and executing them at the right time. I know we have a lot of athletes who are very good, and very few of them will get an opportunity to go to run in the World Championship or in the Olympics. That doesn't mean that if the programs kick earlier, and of course there's a need for the coordination between the athletes' agents and the national duties, so that the athlete is also allowed to train for a national duty. Because all in all, whatever we do in our lives, whether we run for this country, whether we run for ourselves, it will end up back to this country. Because then, one point when you stop running, you'll still become a Kenyan citizen. And that's when it starts counting how much actually did you give for this country, rather than what is this country going to give you.
Well, sad, but it's reality out there. We were talking about the 5,000 and the 10,000 meters race, you know, and we always ask ourselves, how are we going to get it from the Ethiopians? And how are we going to get it from Mofa? What do we need to do? What is the secret? You've been running for many years. What do you think is the secret?
I know that as a track athlete, basically you have to maintain your track sessions and track racing. The minute you cross to road racing, you lose the track, the frequency, the sharpness. You lose it immediately you cross to the road racing. So we as a country, what we must try and do is to keep the athletes on the track, being able to sustain their lives so that they can stay on the track until that time they're ready to run on the road. That is one. So once we do that, then we'll also
focus
have to focus on track. And that also entails a coach to be permanently with them. And then also we also sharpen our techniques of execution, because when you look at the 5,000 meters, I think Mwangangi lost it with only 1 second. Either he left too early or too late. But if he could have executed it right, that 1 second he could have been ahead of Farah, which would have been a gold. So those are some of the things we are saying, that despite how good we are, there's something that we are losing. And a lot of people are saying that why is it we are allowing other countries to come and train here?
Yes,
and
that was going to be my next question.
It is not actually we allowing them. It is what they are doing, we are not doing. And what we are doing, they are not doing. Because if, for example, we do the natural training, we don't have the science and technology, they train here for 3 months, they go back, they enhance their training with science and technology. Of course, they are 2 steps ahead of us. And I think we need to factor the fact that the era of natural running is gone. We must update our training system. We must get together as athletes and coaches and discuss issues. Where are we wrong? What should we improve? It is not just a gift from God. This gift now is been there for so long, and it needs to be developed and pushed to the next level.
You've talked about science and technology. Kindly explain to us that in terms of, you know, athletics.
Let me go back to like the track. The track is 400 meters. When we do our speed training, we use you divide the track into 2. Okay, you have the 200 that makes 2 times 200 makes 400. The frequency for you to run a fast 200 meters, you must train on 150 frequency, which is faster. That makes it faster for a 200, and which also will jump you up to the 400 meters to get faster.
Yes.
So the shorter distance you train with repetitions, or for example, we do, for me as a marathon runner, my shortest would be 200 meters times 10 reps of 3 sets or 4 sets. That means you're doing 200 meters
10 times.
10 times which you can do also with recovery. You can, when you're starting, you can do recovery of 200 and you go 200. All right. The better you become, you now shorten the time for recovery. But you have more sets. So you do 10 sets. You have a break in between. Again, you start the reps. So when you come now to run the 400, the 800, the 1,000 meters, you are much quicker. That is on the track. And if you transfer this training on the road, you will actually run very well. But the road, unfortunately, does kill all these frequencies.
Yes.
And there is no other way you can develop it unless you do the track work. So most of our athletes probably tend to get caught in between sustaining their lives and being on the track, which is not sustainable.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think, and also the track has its own technicalities that we need to seek, because I know that every time we go on the track, even if it's a 10,000 meters, Farah does not even bother going to the front, because he knows we are.
We're there.
He only concentrates on how he's going to finish the race. And by that, immediately, as a coach, I could see why we lose the race.
Yes.
So we must also think, if we can sit with him, can we outkick him at the 200 meters? And that is what we need to, that's why we need to sit and concentrate and make a plan and decide and see what, and do what it takes to just bring this gold back home.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. All right. There's an issue of doping that came up in China. It's been in the news thanks to Hikamura's expose, poison spikes that aired on Citizen TV a few months back. Do you think it's being overemphasized, or is it a real problem in Kenya?
You know, the doping issue basically is a discipline of the athlete, him or herself. I mean, whichever way we look at it, there are some things even in food that you don't eat. And there is nothing you're going to eat to make you run better, apart from your day-to-day training. All you do is probably you want to increase the cells, the cells that carry oxygen, so you carry more oxygen than a normal person. And that what that does to your system is basically making your blood thicker, and you have an issue with your heart, because it tends to overheat because it's pumping more thicker blood than the way it's supposed to be. There is a thinness that the blood must be. So for an athlete, that one thing, he thinks that it is enhancing performance, but this is a life-threatening.
So do you think that the cases we're hearing are being are being blown out of proportion? Because there's also the argument that our athletes are naive and not aware of what they're being given.
Well, I really don't think that you should eat something you don't know, because that's your full responsibility. You are not going to get the coach accountable. You are not going to get your manager accountable. You must also get your parents accountable, if then that's the case, because it means that they didn't take care of you properly. So I think whatever gets into your body as an athlete, that is your responsibility. Whether you are naive, but what I always tend to judge or tend to think is that any athletes, even if you've never gone to school, you are not that bad to understand what is good and what is bad. You know exactly what is bad, you know what is good, but you choose. You choose because you want to get there faster. For me, I took so many years to become a world champion. 83, that is 84, 85, 86, 87, 4 good years. So why do you want to get there within 6 months? There is so much that you're going to complicate in your body, in your genetics. You're going to complicate your genetics and all that, and it will affect you in the future. I'm happy the way I am today because I run every day. And it is because of what I did back then.
So with this, what has happened in China, do you think we're ready for Rio 2016 Olympics, or we still need to put in some work?
Yes, as I said before, I think this is just another step that we can't afford to go backward. So if I was in the place of thinking ahead for 2016, I would start putting my team together, my coaches together, and look at do the postmortem of Beijing and see where we can improve, because I think we have an issue in 10,000 meters, we have an issue in the marathon, and we have an issue in 5,000 meters. I know that the women's 800 meters, that one we can recover within the next year, but I think for so long, Farah has been winning the 10,000 and 5,000 meters. Surely, don't we have some technical guys who can sit him and put Farah behind us?
Will we be able to come up with a strategy, you know, in less than maybe 6-7 months?
Sure, we can.
That will be successful?
Athletes, running is not a problem to us. The only problem we have is the way we execute our running.
Okay.
Because even our athletes themselves believe that we can't outkick Farah. I think we can, because it is only 1 second. 1 second is not big.
Sure.
Because if you play your cards right, which you need to be told when and how to do that, I'm sure at the end of the game, it will be good for Kenya. And I think 2016 should not be different.
Are we preparing our next athletes? Because it reaches a time where it's time
change
to
of guard.
Yeah, change of guard.
Change
Have
of
we
guard.
started that, or
I
are we waiting to be caught off guard?
I think we are going to see that in all Africa Championships, all African Games, which should be coming on.
Yes.
And I think we are going to have some new faces in the team, hopefully, who will be ready for the 2016. As they sign out, because I know majority of the now existing will probably move up to the longer events or road racing, or and all that. So we really need to prepare for that, for those two. And it's very crucial because we are losing the experience, bringing in the unexposed.
Yes.
So we really need to be very smart and sit down and make good decisions for 2016. And
maximize.
Yes.
Athletes wiser now in terms of how to invest their earnings, because they're making a lot of money, participating in these championships. Do you think they're now making wiser decisions?
I believe there's some who have done very good decisions, and of course, we still need a lot. We still need to learn. And one probably thing that I was really looking into is to see how can we go back to school and learn a little bit of how to invest. We need to do that as athletes, because just running does not sustain our lives. Winning a gold medal is a quick money, but the quick money can go as quick as it comes. So I believe that there are some of our athletes who have done pretty well, but we have never gotten into the highest level of business management. As we say, as athletes, we build houses, we build shops.
That's about it.
I mean, that's about it.
That's about it.
So we need to go to the next step and see that we can get into the big business of maybe apparel and on sports marketing, because it's a huge business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another question I had, and it is just gone blur. But yes, there's an issue of appreciating our athletes. It is said that we locally don't appreciate our athletes. Do you feel the same?
No. First, I will want to feel very Kenyan as an athlete, and that's one thing that I'm proud of. And I think that's one appreciation that I must appreciate myself. Secondly, I think what I would want to look into is, sometimes they say, show somebody how to fish, but don't give him a fish. And I think what is needed is to see how the performance of the World Championship, like the way the team has come in, can be certified, so that the athletes are able to sustain their lives after the running. Because yes, you come from the World Championship with a diploma that will not help you in your life. So how can we certify that within our country and see that, we either have a degree in athletics, a degree in football, a degree in boxing, and that one will help the youth, will help the talented youth, and other youths also who are not players or runners will also probably pursue the same. And I think that is one of the biggest hiccup that Kenya has, because it has a huge number of athletes who are finished, who are World Championship champions, and they have medals, but they're just sitting doing nothing somewhere. So how can we certify this
beyond the breakfast, beyond the grand entry.
You know, like you hear Douglas, you hear, or let's say, for example, Billy Conchella is working with his primary school at home as a sports minister, you know, because he's certified. He doesn't have to go back to school and learn all over again to just be given a certificate that now he's certified to become a PE teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Wakiihuri, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We are really happy to have had you here, for giving us those insights, and hopefully those who are in charge have heard, especially on that of Rio 2016. We need to put our technical team to work so that we can get more gold medals, because you think we could have gotten more?
Yeah, I think 10 would have been a good score.
10 would have been
10 out of 10 would have been a good score.
10 gold medals would have been good, right?
Super. There was no reason why we shouldn't have gotten 10.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
But I think that's what they have to do in Rio.
They have to.
We have no choice, because you can't go below 7.
Sadly.
I mean,
Sadly.
you are a champion,
yes,
so
you cannot go below 7.
There you go.
All right, thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome.
You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Don't go too far.